Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third edition of the Beyond the Headset podcast. As always, Nathan Buckley here, along with my twin brother, Brant Buckley. Brant, another great week. Thanks for joining me.
It is another great week, Nate. Great to be back on and looking forward to this week.
Brant, we're going to start our show off, as always, penny for your thoughts, the cheapest thing that you can find to date. We start with one non-sport topic. We each give our opinion, and then we move into a sports topic. Brant, I'm going to hand the microphone off to you. Your non-sports topic, go ahead. Give me your thoughts.
Well, the first 2 weeks, Nathan, I did 3 facts and 3 food for thought ideas. This week, I'm doing something a little different. 3 dad jokes for you. And I'm expecting to hear a lot of growls from this. But the first one is I got my best friend a fridge for his birthday. I can't wait to see his face light up when he opens it.
Okay. All right. I can respect that one. I respect it.
Second one is that I only know 25 letters of the alphabet. I don't know why.
Okay. All right. I can't wait to see this third one here.
All right. And this one is actually very true. 6:30 is hands down the best time on the clock.
You have a good point there, Brant. I have to say, I hope all of our viewers are not giving themselves concussions by shaking their heads at those jokes. But Brant, we do appreciate your thoughts today. I'm going to move into mine. The 2 week strife is over. I am finally behind the wheel of a new car, a 2013 Chevy Impala. For more details, go ahead and contact me, and I'll be happy to fill you in on the details of it. But I am going to give you a little bit of a detail, one that I thought of today, and that is a name for the car. I am deciding to go with the name Kazansky, named after Lieutenant Tom Iceman Kazansky from the Top Gun movie, and that is for the car's color of silver ice. Brant, I know that you are a Top Gun fan, as I am. What do you think of this?
That's a creative one. I like that name.
I was thinking of going with Tom or Thomas, but I'm like, that would be too unoriginal. I decided to go with Kazansky, though. Give it kind of a unique name. All right, Brent, we're going to move into the sports penny for your thought topic. Go ahead. The microphone is yours.
Well, for this week, for my penny for your thoughts sports edition, I just wanted to take a second. I'm sure this news has well made its way around rather the sports world, and that's that on Sunday we lost one of the greatest icons in all of sports, that of course being the NBA Celtics Bill Russell. He died peacefully on Sunday, surrounded by his family in Seattle, Washington, at age 88. He played 13 seasons in the NBA, all with the Celtics. In that time, he won 11 championships. Just think about that a second. 11 championships in 13 seasons. That's insane. And he also followed that up with 5 MVPs. He was a 12-time All-Star and, of course, a Hall of Famer. He played 963 total games, averaged 42 minutes per game, and he shot 44 from the field with about 15 points per game. I mean, he was an absolute pioneer for what the NBA is today and for what the civil rights movement was, especially back in that day, and what it continues to be today. He will long be remembered as one of the greatest ever to play, and he will be dearly missed.
Brant, you want to talk about video game numbers, not only video game numbers, seemingly rookie mode video game numbers in real life for Bill Russell. Not only that, like you mentioned, what he did off the court for the civil rights movement, he will be dearly missed by the entire sports world and the NBA community. Brant, thank you for that. My penny for your thought for sports is more recent. We are actually recording this on a Tuesday afternoon due to the race weekend coming up this weekend. And the trade deadline for the MLB just ended maybe an hour ago. There were some big moves that happened. In Detroit, first of all, Michael Fulmer going to the Twins. I like Fulmer. I do know that he was going to be a free agent at the end of the season, but I still like Fulmer. I was hoping they were going to keep him around. How about this? Whit Merrifield from Kansas City to Toronto. Also, big names being moved around today is the Cubs' David Robertson going to the Phillies. And Brant, this is something we talked about last week. Juan Soto has officially been traded to the San Diego Padres. That's a big move for Juan Soto, big move for the San Diego Padres because they were struggling in a really, really good division right now. Brant, what are your thoughts on the Juan Soto case?
Well, Nate, that did not shock me one bit. I knew that there were going to be a lot of teams in the hunt for him here with the trade deadline coming up this afternoon. But when that came across my screen this morning, the Padres is going to be a good fit for him. He's going to fit the Padres organization well. And as for the Nationals, they got 4 or 5 really good prospects out of the deal. It's just really going to be a good move, I think, for both sides. The Nationals a little further down the road than right now, but I mean that's a big blockbuster there, especially for the Padres. At long last, the NFL has made a decision on Deshaun Watson. This has been a long time coming, really a 1.5 year long process ever since January of 2020 that Deshaun Watson has been unable to play in the NFL. And finally, the NFL decided that they are going to give him his official punishment for the legal trouble that he's been in lately. In case you're unaware, let me give you a quick rundown on this. There have been 24 lawsuits filed against Deshaun Watson, who is now the Cleveland Browns quarterback, formerly the Houston Texans. 24 lawsuits filed against him, ranging from March 2021 to June 2022. He violated NFL's code of conduct for sexual misconduct. And for that, they have decided to give him a 6-game suspension for this upcoming season and no fine from the judge assigned to the case. An appeal may be pending. The final decision may end up coming down to the commissioner, Roger Goodell. And as far as we are concerned, he will not serve criminal charges from this case. Watson has not played in a game since January of 2021, but it looks like he's going to have to wait a little longer to play, Nate. What did you think about the decision this week?
Well, Brian, like you said, it's been a long time coming. In terms of what the suspension is as of now, I think it's a just right suspension. You take a look at past suspensions with similar causes. In 2019, Seattle defensive lineman Jaron Reed suspended for 6 games for assault accusations. In 2019, also, Cleveland running back Kareem Hunt suspended 8 games for assault caught on video. In 2021, running back Darius Geis was suspended 6 games for domestic violence. Now, Brant, not to flip the topic for a minute, but what doesn't make sense to me is these kinds of actions that physically hurt someone outside of the NFL community are 6 games, 7 games, 8 games. Meanwhile, you take a look at Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley. He took a break from football last year. During that break, he bet on NFL games that he wasn't even playing in. 17-game suspension for gambling on games he wasn't even playing in. That to me seems like an unnecessary long suspension for, what's the crime there really? I know you're not supposed to bet on NFL games as an NFL player, but he wasn't even playing in the games. But in terms of Watson's suspension, I think it's just right.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you, Nathan. In essence, in my opinion, he's already served a 1-year suspension by not being able to play last year. That wasn't something the NFL said he couldn't do. But that was something that the Houston Texans said that they don't want to have. They don't want him to play until he's cleared of this. So in essence, he's already served a 1-year suspension. Now he's got to serve 6 more games. And I agree, 6 games is fair. The official punishment, 6 games, that's fair. He needs to serve something, but he's already been set back by all this in his career. Now, what do you think that this means for the Browns organization? What do you think how do you think these first 6 games will go? And then how do you think the rest of the season after that will be?
Well, Brent, it means that the Browns, if they have a chance of making the playoffs, even without Watson in the first few games, look at their schedule to start the season. The first 6 games, if that's what the suspension stays at, is at the Carolina Panthers, hosting the Jets, hosting the Steelers, at the Falcons, and hosting the Chargers. Now, right there, I see the Chargers. I'm like, they're probably not beating the Chargers. Panthers, Jets, Steelers, Falcons. Those are 4. Actually, pardon me, 5. I can't count today. Very reasonable teams to beat. And sure, they don't have a great quarterback. But if they can hold down the fort for those 6 games, they realistically could look 5-1. And with Watson back as a key player, they could make a run.
Now, I don't think they're going to go 5-1 in that time. But I would say that if they come out of those 6 games at 3-3, that's a win for them.
I think that
Considering
is a very
that
underrating. I think that's a very underrating record there, Brant. Actually, I'm going to come out and say it. That's just my opinion, though.
Now, I'm not going to say that's what they're going to be, or they're not going to be any better than that. But they have a very, very, very realistic shot of coming out of this 3-3. Very realistic, or better, should I say. 3-3 or better. So if they can come out of that if they can come out of that with at least 3 wins, that's 3 losses on their record. That's easy. If you end up with 3 losses on your record at the end of the season, that's going to have you in by a long shot. Even, that's not even halfway to being out of playoff contention. So if you are the Browns, even if you split those games, if you go 3-3, you still got a good chance. I agree with you, Nate. They're going to have to rely on the run game earlier in the season. It's going to be a struggle at QB, but if they can come out of those games, at least winning half of them, they're going to be in a good chance to make the playoffs. Yeah.
And Brant, I don't care who your quarterback is, as long as you have decent running backs, which they do, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, they should be able to beat at least the Panthers, the Jets, and the Falcons, even though 2 of those games are on the road.
You just watch, though. Baker Mayfield is going to be eager to throw against Cleveland. I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers won that game.
If you are a religious listener to our show, we appreciate you very much. And you would also know that last week we broke down the AFC division by division. Brant and I are here to break down now the NFC division by division. Brant, we start with the mighty NFC North. Who you got winning?
Did you just say the mighty NFC North?
I did, and do not correct me on that.
I'll raise an eyebrow to it, but it kills me to say it. Green Bay is going to win this division again this year. They were the 1 seed last year. Rodgers is unfortunately still an MVP quarterback, even with losing Davante Adams. They're still one of the most sound teams in the NFL on both sides of the ball. I just don't think anyone's beating Green Bay this year in the NFC North.
Only one thing I have to say to that, Brant, and that's no pack, no. But I got to say, they're going to win the division. It's bearing some miracle and half their team coming down with an illness or injury. It's going to be theirs to lose. And I do not think I even have to somewhat even go into an explanation of that, of why. Brent, we're going to move on to last place in the NFC North. It's going to be a mighty battle. Who you got?
Well, a lot of people would sit there and say, how can you go against the Lions? They've finished last place in the division basically the last few years. They really haven't shown much signs of anything. But I'm going to go against those people. The Chicago Bears are finishing last in the division this year. They only won 6 games last year. They're bound to win fewer this year. Fields is a work in progress. He needs time yet. And they only had 3 draft picks in the top 100 this year. They had no first rounder. The Lions, on the other hand, they had a really good draft. They have lots of optimism. They're trending up, dare I say, at least So it seems, and I think they're probably going to swap places with Chicago. Detroit will have 6 to 8 wins. Chicago will have 4 to 6 wins.
One pride, not last place. We'll take it at this point. I'm actually going to break this down position, or I guess you could say finishing position by finishing position. I think the Vikings finished second. That's hard for me to say, but they have Cook and Jefferson. And I really think Delvin Cook on the run game, Justin Jefferson in the receiving game, it's going to be a strong year for those two players alone. And that's going to lead them to a second place, but still nowhere close to Green Bay. The Lions, they're going to finish third. Much improvement from last year. Stronger D line, stronger receiving core, both those coming in the draft. Of course, the offensive line is going to be great. Frank Ragnow, he's coming back off throat surgery. Not that he was out at all or much last year, played right through it. They're going to be very improved this year, we'll say. So that leaves last place for the Bears with young quarterback Justin Fields, mediocre receivers with Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, and Cole Kmet. David Montgomery is decent, but their only defensive player that I see worthy is Khalil Mack. I just don't see them doing much this year. I see them with the top 5 draft pick in the upcoming draft. Brent, we're going to move on to the NFC South. Who you got winning it?
In the words of the great Rob Gronkowski, Tampa Bay. Brady is back. Julio Jones is a huge pickup for them. They still have Evans, Godwin, and Lenny Fournette. Their defense is going to be strong, and I think they could seriously be a good Super Bowl contender this year.
Brent, I'm going to have to agree with you, and it's not even going to be close. It's going to be Tampa Bay. Brady is by far the best quarterback in that division. In fact, I'd say better than all other 3 quarterbacks put together. Brant, who you got last place?
I got to go with the Atlanta Falcons, and to me, this isn't even much of a question. They have Marcus Mariota as their quarterback. Okay, that's pretty bad. They have Cordell Patterson as their running back. Okay, he's pretty decent. But you know who their running back, or you know who their wide receivers are, Nate? It's Drake London and Brian Edwards. Who are those guys? Like, when you have a mediocre quarterback and you have 2 receivers who really have never heard of before, they're going to maybe be lucky to win 4 games.
Brant, I'm going to have to agree with you once again. I Googled Falcons key players 2022, and I'm not even kidding you. The Air Force Falcons came up before the Atlanta Falcons. Come on. Air Force before Atlanta? Bad times coming in Atlanta. Matt Ryan, long-time quarterback, pardon me, leaving for Brant's Indianapolis Colts. And yeah, I think it'll be better for them to start Desmond Ridder over Marcus Mariota. Not exactly because Ridder is going to be better, because I do think Mariota is going to be the, dare I say, better quarterback. I just think it's time to start Desmond Ridder, and let's get the young guy in there. Let's not waste a year like what San Francisco did with Trey Lance. We're going to move on to the East, Brant, or should I say the least? Who you got winning that?
I got Philadelphia. It was really a debate between Philadelphia and Dallas for me. I did not want to go with Dallas, so I didn't. I think Jalen Hurts is in for a good year with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith running out routes for him. I think that's going to be pretty good for them. Miles Sanders at running back, he's not the greatest, but he's certainly not the worst. And they don't have the best defense by any means either, but they'll manage. They won't be a Super Bowl contender, probably be out in the first round, but I think Philadelphia will win this division.
Not so fast, my friend. In the words of Lee Corso, I do have Dallas winning this division. And I credit that to a lot of key players led by 3 words, Brant. Zeke, Zeke, Zeke. Ezekiel Elliott will be he's coming into this year very underrated. He'll be one of the better running backs again in the NFL. They have Dak Prescott coming back, CeeDee Lamb as a receiver, just to name a few names. How about Micah Parsons? He's going to be back on that defense. He is going to be an absolute animal on defense, I think Dallas, no question, runs over this division. Brent, who you got finishing last in the East?
I'm going to have to go with the New York Giants on this one. Daniel Jones is not completely trash, but he's not exactly where he was expected to be at this point. Saquon Barkley's on his way down. Kenny Golladay was a nice pickup for them, but he honestly is not going to make the team any better. And a bad team last year is just not going to be much better this year. I see them being probably another top 5 pick this year, maybe top 10 if they could improve a little bit.
In the words of Lee Corso, Brandt, good pick, my friend. I'm going with the Giants finish last in the East, along with you. They finished last in the division 4 of the last 6 seasons. They do have some weapons. They have Saquon Barkley, Kenny Golladay, and Evan Ingram on offense. But inexperienced quarterback with Daniel Jones. I just don't see anything coming out of either New York team this year. We're talking about the Jets last week, the Giants, same boat. Not much going on. Not a lot of big names over there in New York. Brant, now we are going to move on to the West. Who you got winning it?
I got the LA Rams coming off the Super Bowl last year. They're going to be confident. I think the Cardinals and the 49ers will keep it close in this division, as if that doesn't just tip off who I've been picking for last place. But like I said, coming off the Super Bowl win, they're going to have another great year. They're going to have lots of confidence. They've got Stafford back with Kupp, Van Jefferson, and potentially OBJ coming back. He's currently still trying to work off that injury from the Super Bowl, and he still hasn't signed a contract with anyone, but I think the Rams are going to have another great year.
Whose division? Rams division. I got the Rams too, Brant. This one, it was a no question for me, but it was a close no question, just like you mentioned. Arizona will be close, but not close enough. The success of San Francisco all relies on Trey Lance. A good season means they get a wild card spot, but nowhere close to LA. They've just retained too much of that Super Bowl roster. Sure, the next few years they're going to run out of money. But for this year, they might just run it back and win the Super Bowl again. Brant, who we got finishing last? Do I even have to ask?
Not really. I just listed the other 3 teams a second ago. It's going to be the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks just signed DK Metcalf to a huge deal, but they have nobody to throw to him. They have Geno Smith and Drew Lock. It's like trying to pick being hit by a brick in the head or being hit by a hammer in the head. They have Rashad Penny at running back. That's an absolute yuck. And this is too good of a division to compete with a poor team.
No question, Brant. I agree with you. Very strong receivers. DK Metcalf leading them all. Solid, but injury-prone running backs. I think Rashad Penny, he can be a decent running back if he stays healthy. Not the greatest, but familiar name as backup, Kenneth Walker. Could see a lot of playing time this year for Seattle if Rashad Penny gets hurt like he does almost every single year. But with Drew Lock and Geno Smith, no bueno. Absolutely no bueno.
It is time for another week of highs and lows from the sports world. It's time for highlights and lowlights. Nate, what you got for a highlight this week?
Brant, I was looking at the imaginary rule book of our podcast for the highlights, lowlights, and I wrote down a new rule, and that is absolutely okay to include yourself in the highlights, lowlights. It was an interesting weekend of putting for me, Brant. On Friday night out at PCC, I hit a 30-foot putt on the 7th green. And how do I follow that up? I'm going to go ahead and hit a 36-foot putt on the 5th green of PCC on Saturday afternoon. Brant, I'm going to pat myself on the shoulder. Usually I can't make a 3-foot putt, and I am just absolutely drilling putts this weekend.
I'm going to call you out with you patting on your yourself on the shoulder. Folks, he also missed about I'm gonna say a half a foot putt, maybe a little more than that. I'll give you a little bit of grace there, but he just kind of tried to go up there and tried to do a quick little practice swing, and he kind of tapped it and it rolled further than he thought, and he was kind of like, shoot. So that was kind of funny. But my highlight for the week is going to be from Detroit, Javi Baez hitting a home run off his brother-in-law. Javi faced off against Jose Barrios in Toronto on Sunday. Barrios' wife and Baez's wife are sister. Both their wives are sisters, making them brother-in-laws in a sense. Baez hit a home run to right field off of Barrios. Let me tell you, that's probably going to make for an awkward Thanksgiving dinner. But Nate, what do you got for a low light this week?
Well, first of all, Brian, I could throw this in for a half a low light too. Javi Baez hit 2 or 3 home run worthy foul balls before hitting that home run. And maybe it was the same at bat, maybe it was different at bat. I can't quite remember. Moving on to the low light, Brant, I'm going to have to go with San Francisco Giants reliever Carlos Rodon. Got taken out of the game and he wasn't too happy. He went to the dugout, and he slammed his glove. Now the backswing got Andrew Bailey, the pitching coach. He continues and kicks a bat that goes right into the shin of Thairo Estrada. Boy, he does not sound like a very good teammate when he is upset.
Sounds like when he gets back to the dugout, it might be one of those things where everyone kind of might want to start gathering on the other end of the dugout. But
I must say, though, at least he didn't break a putter.
At least he didn't do that. My low light for the week is from the LPGA Tour last weekend. It was the Amandi Evian Championship. And one of the golfers, Nelly Korda, her approach shot gets hit into the pedestrian walkway under some trees. And there's this lady who comes walking by with her Ray-Ban shades on and big old sun hat, just loving life. Just really loving her life. And she comes walking by and just reaches down, picks up the ball and holds it up like, look what I found, and starts walking away. And it's like, well, no duh, you're at a golf event. Of course you found a golf ball, but she was just completely unaware of what was going on. One of the marshals comes up and tells her to put the ball back, and she had the biggest look of confusion on her face. It's like, why would you think if you are at an LPGA event to just reach down and pick up a ball? Like, that makes no sense. But nope, she put the ball back and continued along on her way.
Brant, in the words of Michigan football public address announcer, after a PAT goes over the net, please return the ball to the playing surface. Thank you very much. Grab yourself a beer and do a little dance. NASCAR comes to the Irish Hills of Michigan this weekend for the Firekeepers Casino 400. Brant, a long-awaited weekend for you and I and a lot of our buddies. It's an exciting weekend coming up, and boy, it could not be more anticipated. 2 spots left, 2 more winners, and we have a full playoff roster. First of all, Brant, we're going to start right away with the Cup Series race on Sunday. Hopefully, the rain will hold off. The rain holds off, Brant. Who you liking in that race?
I tell you what, it'd be ironic if it didn't rain all summer and then decides to rain on race weekend. How would that be?
Too ironic.
Well, I tell you what, I think despite maybe Watkins Glen and Daytona coming up, I think NASCAR's got their best chance to see a first-time winner someone without a win this year, to see it this weekend. You look at previous winners of this race. Last year's winner, Ryan Blaney, has not won this year. The 2 years prior to that, Kevin Harvick does not have a win this year. The Fords are always fast in Michigan. I hate to say it, but the Fords, they're always fast. Maybe with this new car, things will be different, but I think that Ryan Blaney, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr. always runs pretty well there. I think NASCAR, they got a good shot of having their 15th winner of the year come this weekend in Michigan.
I completely agree. Very good chance of seeing a winner that's not already locked to the playoffs win and lock themselves in. However, Brant, I'm going to go with the bold prediction, not so bold prediction. Despite those names that you listed off, I think we're going to see a repeat winner here. And I think the car will be owned by Hendrick Motorsports. We saw a very, very, very strong showing of Hendrick Motorsports cars last year. Chase Elliott led for a bit. Larson led for a bit. Larson and Elliott were 1-2 for quite a while. And sure, we're talking about an all-new car coming here to Michigan. William Byron ended up finishing second. He could be a strong candidate. I like Hendrick Motorsports this weekend, Brant. I'm not going to say that they're going to finish 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be a very, very, very bold statement. I think they'll all get top 10s, though.
I tell you what, Hendrick Motorsports got a good chance. You look at Michigan's sister track, Auto Club. Kyle Larson found his way to victory lane there in February. Chevys were fast there. It was Chevys in the top 4 with Larson, Dillon, Jones, and Suarez. I think Chevy might have a good chance, but knowing how things have been in Michigan the past few years, I think Ford's going to have a really good chance, as much as I hate to say it.
Brent, we're going to move on to Saturday's New Holland 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Who do you like coming out of that race?
Well, if I'm being completely honest, Saturday for me isn't really much of a, watch the races and pull for a guy. It's going to be a great day to just go down there and watch. To be fair, I haven't even really looked at much of the entry list, but I would say Noah Gragson's probably got a good chance for the Xfinity race. Maybe a Justin Allgaier. I don't know squat for people in the ARCA race, but it's like what the old song says. I won't be there for a long time, but I'll be there for a good time.
Absolutely, Brian. I think we're going to be set for a really good race there on Saturday and Sunday. Taking a look at a quick headline going into the weekend. Xfinity Series driver Austin Hill is going to be making his Cup debut for Richard Childress Racing in the 33. Brent, what do you make of this move?
Well, I think that spoils what the ending or what this week announcement from RCR is going to be, because he's driving for RCR. But really, I like Austin Hill. He's a good kid, good driver, good to give him a chance. And though I can't really say he's probably going to do exceptionally well, you never know. Michigan's a good track to have your first Cup Series race at. Why not give him a shot? I like it.
Action-packed Saturday, followed up by a high-intensity Sunday. 3 series hitting the track on Saturday with the NASCAR Cup Series qualifying and having their practice session on Saturday. Of course, the NASCAR Xfinity Series and ARCA Menard Series the same. Only those two will be racing later that day as well. Brant, I won't be with you on Saturday. I'll be with you on Sunday. Hope you have a good time on Saturday. I'll be working media in the pits once again, but I have decided to rejoin the rowdy crowd and watch the race on Sunday. So I'm excited. We got a group of guys going down. We're going to have a good old time. Gonna drink a few beverages and have a nice little tailgate. What's your favorite part that you're looking forward to this weekend, Brant?
Just the whole thing. I just love being down there and spending some time with some good buddies. And, we're going to do a tailgate on Sunday. That was a lot of fun last year, so we decided to do it again this year. And if you find your way to the grandstands this weekend, be safe. Hope to see you there. And hey, if it's Saturday, as far as I'm concerned, it's general admission. It's only not been general admission one time, supposedly. If you need a backstory on that, come find me somewhere. But come find us, Saturday. Me and our old buddy Grant are going to be in the grandstands. Come find us. Come have a drink with us. Have a good time. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Going to be a great weekend.
Well, that's all the time we have today for Beyond the Headset. Coming up next week, we're going to have another full show worth of sports, including more highlights and lowlights and some more thoughts from your 2 favorite high school sportscasters. If you have any suggestions for future segments that you would like us to talk about on our show, please just let us know. We would love to talk about your topic. Any last thoughts before we send it away for the week, Nate?
It's going to be a busy weekend for him, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to talk about those experiences I have in the pits on Saturday and with you guys on Sunday.
All right, Nate, thanks again for a great week. We'd like to thank everybody for tuning in this week, and we sure hope that you'll tune in for the next time Brant and Nate go beyond the headset.